Welcome to the Season 6 Yasuo guide by eGaming Television. In this guide, we're going to be covering the pros and cons of the champion, the masteries, runes, summoners, each of his skills or abilities, his skill build, item build, general tips, and how to farm effectively against certain champions as Yasuo in the mid lane. So let's start with the pros and cons of Yasuo, starting with the pros. He has very high damage output due to the double crit chance he gets from his passive. He's very mobile with his sweeping blades as long as there's minions around. He does not have ability costs, meaning he does not have to rely on getting blue from his jungler. He's somewhat tanky due to his shield as well, early on at least. He has an amazing ultimate which combos well with other people's skills as well as his Q. He has low cooldown on his abilities. Wind Wall can be very game breaking in fights if he blocks the right skills, and he has a decent auto attack range for a melee champion. As strong as Yasuo is right now, he does still have cons, one of them being a high skill cap. It's hard to learn all of his abilities and it'll take you a while to get to learn those. He's very weak against crowd control as well. He must learn how to trade effectively with his shield and when to dash in and out. He must learn how to use his skill shots, mainly his whirlwind on his Q. Minions must be around to escape, like I said before, and later on he becomes very squishy because of how he has to build, getting a static shiv and other crit items. Next we're going to touch on the masteries he takes, which is 18 in ferocity as well as 12 in resolve. The reason you do this is because you get armor pen, plus damage, and 15% heals from crits, and 20 attack speed for 4 seconds in the ferocity one. The one that gives 15% heals from crits is very, very good for Yasuo's lane phase, as he gets a lot of lifesteal and doesn't have to leave the lane that often. In the resolve tree, you end up getting stuff like 4% more health, as well as 50% more health regen, which goes up to 200% when below 25% to also increase his lane sustain. Next we're going to jump into the runes that Yasuo uses, which is 9 greater marks of attack damage, 9 greater seals of armor, 9 greater glyphs of magic resist, and 3 greater quintessences of attack damage. In the past, you would have to pick up things such as lifesteal, but due to the mastery changes, you no longer need to do this, and it's much more efficient to pick up the attack damage for your lane phase. In almost all cases, your summoners are going to want to be Flash and Ignite. Yasuo is a champion that snowballs from killing enemy champions, so bringing Ignite increases your kill potential. In some scenarios, you may want to use Barrier Exhaust if you're worried about the enemy champion's kill potential on you, but try to stick to Ignite if you can. Now we're going to talk about each of Yasuo's skills, starting with Way of the Wanderer, which is his passive. So Yasuo's critical chance is doubled. Additionally, Yasuo builds towards a shield whenever he is moving. His shield then triggers whenever he takes damage from an enemy champion or monster. So a few notes, this is where Yasuo gets a lot of his power. Basically, you get a lot of crit really fast, and the shield you get from this as well is very effective for trading. And please note as well that his E ability also counts as moving, so that generates towards the shield as well. Next we're going to talk about Yasuo's Q, which is called Steel Tempest. Like I was saying before, it has no cost, and the range is 475. Yasuo thrusts forward, dealing 20, 40, 60, 80, or 100, plus 100% attack damage, physical damage. On hit, Steel Tempest grants a stack of Gathering Storm for 10 seconds. At 2 stacks, Steel Tempest fires a whirlwind that knocks enemies airborne. Steel Tempest is also treated as a basic attack. It can critically strike, apply on-hit effects, and its cooldown and cast time are reduced by attack speed. Now if it's cast while you're dashing, Steel Tempest will strike as a circle. This is the skill you're going to max first, and it is very efficient at killing minions. Now we're going to talk about Yasuo's W, which is called Wind Wall. It also has no cost, and the range is 400. Basically what his wind wall is, it's a moving wall that blocks all enemy projectiles for 4 seconds. The only thing that changes when you level up this skill is the cooldown gets lower, so therefore you're able to level this last since that's not a big issue. This skill can completely win teamfights as well as long as you block the right skills from each enemy champion. This is going to take a long time to get used to since there's a huge amount of champions and many skills out there, so try to use this to block whatever you can. This can also provide you excellent protection in lane depending on the enemy jungler. If they have skill shots that can stun and whatnot, you can use this to block it and easily get out of the lane and be safe. So the last of Yasuo's main skills is his E, which is called Sweeping Blade. Like all of his other abilities, there is no cost and his range is 475. So this is your main dash. So you dash through target enemy dealing 70, 90, 110, 130, or 150 plus 60% ability power as magic damage. Each cast increases your next dash's base damage by 25% up to 50%. It cannot be recast on the same enemy for 10, 9, 8, 7, or 6 seconds. If cast while dashing, Steel Tempest will strike as a circle. This is your main ability for jumping around like you always see Yasuo's doing. However, it is ability power and magic damage, so therefore you do not max this first since you're not getting the, bonus 80 that you're building like your Q. So Yasuo's last skill, of course, is his ultimate, which is called Last Breath. Like everything else, there is no cost, and the range is 1200. So Yasuo blinks to an airborne enemy champion, dealing 200, 300, or 400, plus 150% bonus attack damage, physical damage, and holding all airborne enemies in the air for an additional 1 second. This also grants maximum flow, but resets all stacks of Gathering Storm. For 15 seconds, Yasuo also gains 50% bonus armor penetration, which affects armor from items, buffs, runes, and masteries as well. Like it says, it can only be used on airborne enemy champions, which means stuff like Blitzcranks pop up, Malphites pop up, as well as your Q all work to combo with your Last Breath. So this is the generic build for Yasuo. As you can see, you take your Q at level 1, your E at level 2, your W at level 3, while maxing your ult when you can, followed by your Q, then your E, then your W. Depending on the enemy champion you're fighting in mid, however, you may want to take your E first. Like you saw earlier in this video, you took E at level 1 against this Kassadin because Kassadin cannot trade early on, and he was able to do a ton of level 1 damage against Kassadin and easily win the lane. So now we're going to jump into the item build for Yasuo. So your starters are almost always a Doran's Blade and a health potion. There may be some situations where you'd have to take a Doran's Shield if you know you're going to get heavily harassed in lane. However, you want to try to get the Doran's Blade. In your core build as Yasuo, Static Shiv is always your number 1 pickup no matter what. Everything it provides with the extra crit is amazing. You usually want to follow this up with an IE. Some people will take the Trinity Force. It's your preference really. You follow that up with the Berserker Greaves, a Bloodthirster, an LDR, and then a Guardian Angel. There are some alternatives to this, however, such as like a Banshee's Veil if you know it's going to be very effective against the team you're fighting. So now a few little things you should know about Yasuo. One being your shield lasts 2 seconds. Use this to trade effectively and efficiently. You need to know if your shield's about to pop up when you're going in or when you're going to have enough time to trade. Not using this properly can severely hurt you in the lane phase. Another thing you need to be aware of is that some skills do go through your win wall, such as Annie's W. Annie is kind of a hard matchup for Yasuo since she does have very long auto attack range, as well as being able to stun you through your wall if she's close enough whenever she wants. You are also weakest after you've used your tornado. If you miss your tornado, do not go in for a trade. Wait until you have your Q up again and then go for a trade if you need it. Like I said before, Yasuo is a champion that can snowball really hard off of killing enemy champions. So when you're in mid lane, you could be either against a farming or a roaming / kill champion. So how you want to deal with a farming champion is try to force them out of the lane by dashing in and attacking them and getting back out to get efficient trades. You can also have a strong jungler come in to gank as well if you know that you can secure the kill for sure. However, a farming champion will generally be far back by their tower, so this may not be an option for you. When you're against a roaming or kill champion, you want to try to keep them zoned from farming while you power level. You however have to be aware of their jungler, as you may be pushed in your lane and he might want to attack you, so make sure there's some minions for you to escape. You can have your jungler gank as well if they are aggressive on you. Just try to keep tabs on how aggressive they are, and what flash, if they have flash, if they have any of their cooldowns and whatnot, so your jungler knows when he can come and get an efficient gank. When you're trying this champion, keep in mind that it's going to take you guys a little bit of time to get used to his kit. He's a lot harder than some champions out there. However, he is very, very strong right now. He's definitely god tier champion. And when you finally master Yasuo, you can collect your free elo. It's very easy wins, and if you queue with friends that combo with your ultimate, it gets that much easier. I hope you guys enjoyed this guide and found it very informative. I'm going to be making many different guides on other champions in Season 6, so if you guys have a champion you guys would like to see me make, please leave it in the comments or my channel comments. Of course, if you guys have any suggestions as well, they would be very appreciated. If you guys like this, please like and subscribe, and look out for my next League of Legends video. Thank you guys for watching.